Thank you so much for these great people on the screen here. They are supporting our channel to bring you more education like this. If you are interested in joining the crew, come on down. The link is in the description below. What's up, LG members and guests? Welcome back. So for today's show, I used to do this quite a bit, and I don't know why I stopped, but it was actually a pretty cool segment. And what I would do is watch YouTube tips, and we would just funnel through all the short tips just to give you my feedback and opinion, because we do see these things across your feed. I'm sure you see tons of them if you watch YouTube shorts, and we're going to look at them. They might conflict each other. There might be some great tips out there, but hopefully you do enjoy this. If you like this type of content, hit that like, share, subscribe. And for tomorrow's show, we're going to do a cause and effect. I just don't know who it is going to be on, so let me know who you think I should do it on tomorrow. It could be an old school player. It could also be a teaching method. So if you want me to analyze the teaching method, let me know down below. But other than that, let's get going. So for the first segment, I typed in golf swing tips. Let's just scroll down until we get to some other short, and then we'll have to change subjects. This is called the perfect backswing. Okay, send this to an overthinker. Okay, so what do I think about this? It's a pretty simple drill to do. Whether or not this works for everybody is a different question. This might be his way of doing it. I haven't seen this gentleman swing. It could be the way he feels to get to the top. And yes, there's some merit to this. There's some good checkpoints to see. I'm not really too sure about that motion from the full turn to raising it. But other than that, I think it's a decent tip. But will it work for you? That's really hard to tell. Next up, 4 steps to a perfect backswing. Okay, let's watch that one more time. All right, so I mean, we can probably see some differences between this one and this one. The order is a little bit different. We can definitely see that the arms do get in a different top position. So again, we're having 2 clips back to back talking about some sort of drill that you can use to preset your top position and learn how to, set the club differently. And they're different. So yeah, this might work for somebody that this matches up to the way the thought process is and the way their body moves. But is this some universal tip? Not necessarily. So again, you just got to be careful. And your interpretation of this, when you do it by yourself, do you have somebody checking you to make sure you match all these things? Probably not. So you rely on some camera work, and do you want to look at the camera over and over again to see if you get it? Because if you don't get it, where does it go wrong? So you need somebody there with you to help you with some preset drills. And I've used stuff like this. I've used stuff with some of my students, but everybody's a little bit different. I might have one of my students hinge it right away. I might have one of my students turn right away and then hinge it, depending on what their issue is and what we're trying to get accomplished. So let's see who's next. World number 1, fundamental. Fundamental is king. Okay, so we got Scottie Scheffler working on the grip, alignment rods. Yeah, I can tell you right now that this is probably one of the better shorts I've seen, just because they don't talk about anything principle bound, in-swing principles. There's no addressing, hinging, holding, stacking, nothing like that. There's no methods, and you know about my theories about methods. But this is just, look at that. Learn to perfect the boring stuff. And that's why you don't see much content on it, because it's boring. But that's the number one thing that the best players in the world work on, is their alignment and their grip. And why? Because every compensation occurs from misalignment and a grip that is not complementing the swing. They will always fight each other, and at that level they can probably get away with it up until a certain point where they can't anymore. And at that level, it could be a deviation of 5 to 10 feet right or left or short or long, where they just can't get away with it anymore. And that's why we see, this is such a vicious cycle at that level, where they stay on top of the game for quite some time. It could be a few months, and then all of a sudden they just fizzle away and they just disappear to the middle of the pack, and then they come back because it's probably some fundamental issues going wrong. At that level, swings don't just change all of a sudden. it's usually a misalignment, the ball position, and then your swing can't survive as much because one of those two are misaligned. So really good. I wish most of them were like this, just hitting home fundamentals. All right, what is the secret to a smooth swing? Not quite sure what he's trying to get across. Tempo, maybe? Pausing at the top. I guess it's just, you know, talking about sequencing, tempo, maybe pausing at the top might help you. Does it work? Yeah, I think it can work. Does it work for everybody? Not necessarily, because you can't really change your tempo because of your individual persona. You know, I think I did a video on Ernie Els and Nick Price, and we see how much faster Nick Price is, and he does not need to do this because that'll throw his whole sequencing off. So some people do rely on fast swings because it's who they are as a person. You watch Nick Price walk down the street, he walks super fast. You watch Ernie Els walk down the street, you know, he's just a cool, chill, kind of laid-back kind of guy, and that's their swings emulate that about them. So, yeah, it could help some people, but it could also really hurt some people. What is this one? Oh boy, all these lines, ball position. Not really sure what this is. This might just be some sort of cause and effect video. We don't hear anything explaining. You know, I can kind of figure out what he's trying to say. Obviously, we need to turn and push up, but I mean, it's a cool video. I don't know if it's going to help much. You might be misinterpreting this one. Okay, so I just typed in golf swing distance. First thing that popped up is senior swing, more width, less backswing. Okay, let's take a look at this.
Okay, guys, I'm going to do something for the senior swing. Same thing. You've always got to be reminded, how do you want to take the club back? Fan the wrist open or keep it locked. But it has to be out here. You can't be in here, okay? So, but what happens after you get here and you lift the club straight up? What's the feel? Now, for you senior golfers and for all of us, when you get here and lift straight up, you want to feel like you're moving into the ball with your lead eye back. Now, I'm only going to swing this probably a half a swing, okay? Because let's say I'm a senior golfer and I don't have much flexibility. So I'm just going to get to here, but then drop my width. Okay, so let's see how that works. So I get here, into it, and move through. Now, you may hit some thin, but it doesn't matter. You're trying to convince yourself that this is enough swing speed to what? Here. Okay, guys, I'm going to do something.
I'm not sure about this one. I just don't like the fact that he said that you have to do this and have to do that, because I have worked with many seniors and they do take that club back completely different. Some close the club face, some open it up, and they're pretty productive. So again, this is a tip that might work for the small group of people that are watching it. But if you want to increase your distance as a senior, you are only limited to what your body turn could be. That's just the unfortunate part of it. You can try and create some width, but you definitely need some turn to take advantage of that width. Without that turn and the width, you know, you can't get the club deep enough, and then you're going to some from steepness issues. Man, tongue twister. And you can see from here, it doesn't necessarily take it back to that halfway checkpoint. If you take a look at that backswing and then his real swing, doesn't necessarily go, it goes much further. I'd say that's 3/4, maybe in a full swing. Feel isn't real. You know, distance loss for seniors is always just going to come down to muscular loss and speed loss, rotation loss. You can't really turn back the time. You know, I've lost some distance as I'm getting older. Hey, man, I can try and gain some of it back, but it's not going to be all of a sudden hitting it 20 yards further. That's just not fair to hang that carrot out there. I'm not saying he is, but I'm sure there's other people that say, hey, you're missing 20 yards if you just do this. Just take this with a grain of salt. You got to just work on, you know, flexibility. If you just increase your flexibility just a little bit, it makes a big difference. So decent. Let's take a look at the next one. All right, so here is golf swing for basically beginners. Let's take a look.
Your golf swing. It adds unnecessary tension and your arms will eventually collapse. But from a long relaxed position at address, if you hinge your wrists and turn your upper body correctly, it'll stay that way, giving you the room and structure to flush those golf shots. Forcing your left arm to stay straight is killing your golf swing. It adds unnecessary.
Okay, so watching that whole thing, I think it's a good tip. You definitely want to get that feeling of what it's like to keep the club more out in front of your chest. While you keep it in front of your chest, what is the difference that you feel in your body? Do you feel stretches? Do you feel the weight distribution that's different? Keeping your arm straight, is it a mandatory thing? Not really. There's plenty of great players that have that left arm. If I'm a righty, that left arm does break down. Now you can get some more distance by engaging another lever, but you can also get some timing issues. It becomes hard. I'd shy away from being perfect with the left side. I mean, if your left arm stays straight, great. If it bends a little bit, could be some flexibility issues, could be like a surgery issue that you can't get away from. But I like the fact that he keeps his hands in front of his chest. Now, I've also worked with students that keep their hands in front of their chest like he does there, but still have a left arm. That's just the way their biceps work. I mean, maybe his bicep was really tight and holding it and he couldn't straighten it out. Who knows what it is? But yeah, I think there's some good merit to this. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I think the visualization can really help a lot of people. All right, let's take a look here.
Produces both speed and accuracy. The first thing you see here is crazy width. The space between his hands and his body gives him maximum leverage with a wide takeaway. As he goes to the top, you'll notice two things. The first, he's going to drop his head into the ground, using the ground for speed. And with all that speed, he keeps his shoulders closed for a long time, helping deliver consistent club path. You can see that wide takeaway at the beginning has turned into a narrow downswing, delivering efficient speed and a consistent club path for good ball striking. Michael Lasasso has such a unique move that produces both speed and accuracy.
I was a little confused there because the bottom said Bryson DeChambeau slow motion super swing, so I think that's what this is going to point you to. So yeah, this is a really phenomenal golf swing. I would never recommend this to the average golfer. Some of the things he's covering can definitely help. I mean, he's using a lot of vertical force. He's conserving that angle immensely here. And if you look at the amount of tilting needed to establish that angle right there, I mean, look at those. The more you can tilt, the more you have to turn your lower body to compensate that tilt. But you really need a certain body type. Now, this is the old question. This is the same question that keeps coming up, and everybody says the same thing. This guy's swing's not going to last another 10 years. Well, maybe not for you because you sit in the office all day, but this person has built their swing and their body according to match and support that. So I think that there's a misconception out there because he is trained and he's built his body to be in these positions, and he's still probably going to utilize that same position. Now, will he swing like this at 60? Probably not, but I still think this swing will survive a few decades at least. But as you age, you could start to wear yourself down a little bit. It might change naturally anyway, so he will probably get addressed as he ages, but just thought I'd drop that down. The perfect impact.
Position. This is one of the drills that Ben Hogan used to teach his students. So you already start in your perfect impact, then take it back down and through. I want to find that perfect impact position. This is,
you know, I used to do this when I was first learning to play golf. And looking back on it, I don't know why I did it. You know, presetting your impact. What is that really going to do? Because you still have to turn and tilt from that preset, and you're going to start to, reduce your limitations. So in other words, if I open my hips at impact, get my tilting down, get my hands where they should be, and they should actually be higher because at impact your hands raise up because of the rotation. But if I preset everything, if I go ahead and turn from there, what's going to happen? Am I going to go back to my natural turn, or am I going to hold off my turn to get my stretches down? So this could be good for somebody that needs to feel the stretches of what their body is limiting in the backswing. It might be a good field drill if you're suffering from feeling what it's like to open up. I would never live and die by this drill because it could start to cause more harm than good the more you do this. It's a decent drill for the right person. Okay, I just typed in ladies golf swing drills to see what we have for the ladies out there who are watching. Let's take a little peek.
Nothing like it, not like the way you move. I can try, but I can't hide it from you. 'Cause I can't wait. Nothing like.
Okay, let's watch that again. Jumping through impact, yes. Okay, don't want to jump through impact. Set up and lift toes off the ground. Okay, so that gets your weight in the heels, and then keep them on the heels. Okay, I kind of see what she's trying to do. But unfortunately, that your trail leg does need to activate the toes if you want to push to your left heel correctly to transfer that energy over while you get your upper body down. So this could just be a make-up drill. In other words, something you put in your face to make it look pretty. I don't know how effective this is. Obviously, she can do it and looks pretty good doing it because I assume she's a pretty good player along with being a coach. I think the better way to do this is just accept what you're doing currently, because you have to understand why you are doing this in the first place. So if you don't know why you're doing this, curing that reason will not cure the problem. You're going to hit it worse. So you have to look at, okay, why does this happen? Is it my setup? Is it my lack of rotation? Something is happening, and it's usually the hamstrings, the buttocks, the lower back. As we age, that's the first thing that gets weak and tight. And when you get weak and tight there, you just can't maintain your posture, so you lose it. You also have to look at simple things like ball position. Is the ball position matching your tilting at impact? If it's not, you are going to try and stand up to create more room to release the club early, to make room for your hands to throw early. So again, this is a good drill to get clicks and views, but how applicable is it to everybody? That's the question. I would never really recommend just doing this just to look prettier, but my opinion.
Right front pocket and swap it into the back pocket. Right front pocket, swap it into the back pocket. That's going to get that big hip turn and get those arms around your body. Here's the drill for you, is to get your right front pocket and swap it into the back pocket. Right front pocket.
Okay, I like that drill. Just in terms of helping people with rotation. Does it work for everybody? Not really, and I'm sure all these people can agree that it's not going to work for everybody. Another drill that I use is putting a alignment rod on, let's say the student's right-handed, put it on their right hip, and then get them to set up, rest it against the right hip. So if your hip's here, the alignment rod is resting. When they turn their hips, that alignment rod is going to fall down immediately. So I like that one just because it gives them the audio feedback of the thing hitting the ground, and then also the visual feedback of it coming off their hip, and also the kinesthetic feel. So they feel it rubbing off their hip. So it catches all three learning styles in one drill. So I like it. I don't know how applicable it is for everybody, but it could be pretty good. Okay, this one is driver practice drill for golfers with an active right shoulder or right arm. Active right shoulder. So maybe lifting and moving on its own. Okay, so he's separating the hands to make it wider, and then he turns the whole body to stop the right arm from moving. I think this is a good drill if this is something that can suit what you're needing to do in the golf swing. Again, I wouldn't just try drills unless you know it's supposed to be for you. And one of the things that always crack me up too is I'd be teaching somebody and the whole range could be empty, and I see somebody get their range balls and they stand right next to us to get that free lesson, that free secondary lesson. And I would love it because I knew instantly that person's going to listen and try and do what I'm teaching my student. And I'm teaching my student what they need. So next thing you know, I'm teaching my student an absurd position. I want you to take that club way out in the top and feel like you're looping it over because they might be coming too far inside. And next thing you know, the person next to me is taking it way out inside, trying to loop it over under, shanking the ball, topping the ball, and it would never fail. So if you're ever next to a coach, just disregard what they're saying because they're working with that person. They're not over here giving you golf magazine tips and cookie cutter tips like this. Now, is this a good tip? Yeah, for the right person. Shorter, how to get a short backswing. Okay, so we got to be careful when we talk about shorter backswings because most people relate the length of the backswing to where that club head is going. So I think what she's trying to do is shorten the arm swing by engaging the body more, which it looks really good. And I'm pretty sure I've heard of Gabby Golf before, and I think she's a pretty good player. So you look at all great players at the top level, and it's very rare to see a great player at the top level not have a fully engaged upper body in terms of turning as much as they can. Now, if you watch my analyzing when I analyze students and people is we look at the shoulder turn and where that shoulder turn stops. That's basically where the club and hands should stop at the same time. You shouldn't see any excess turn. Now, usually when we get excess excuse me, not excess turn, excess arm motion is because our body stops too soon, either lack of rotation or we just think we're turning and we're not, and our arms have to make up for the rest of it. So you can still get the club back here either with no turn or engage your turn and keep your hands out in front, which will give you a little bit wider. So great drill if the body can do it. Great drill if this is your issue. Okay, here we go. Great.
I need a quick fix.
I need a quick fix. So she couldn't believe how easy this makes the backswing. All right.
Because I don't have time to practice.
Pop that underneath your right armpit.
Yeah.
Let's take your setup.
Okay.
Let's make a backswing at like 50% speed
Okay.
and keep that in. And then your goal is going to be, I'll put my hands on you. You're going to make a full swing and it's going to probably feel like it's only about right there.
Okay.
Your whole right arm should feel like it stays a little more connected to you and is lower.
Okay.
So if you do the bad and you lift,
It'll fall out.
It's going to fall. I'd put the glove under,
Okay.
right? I would take normal setup. I'd put the tee in and I'd go 1 to the thigh, 2 to the leg, 3 to the top. You're going to feel more connected.
Yeah.
Kind of piece it up. And then on the next one, make it just one fluid motion, just to feel. So kind of 1, 2, 3. I'm going to feel the same thing. And I'm going to hit. Also keeping your right arm in, you're going to feel like the club goes a little more around you. But we're going to hit ball 1, something like this. I'm going to feel the same motions.
I need a quick fix because
Okay, so this is
don't
one of
have
those
time to
drills. This is one of those drills where you can get carried away, and I see many people getting carried away with it. They don't put the thing high enough. They put it kind of under the elbow, and that's when things get really trapped. So it's key that you want to put it very high because there is some leeway with the shoulder, with the elbow. The elbow can move away from the body without falling out. So it can still be trapped in there. Now, is this good? I don't know, because it's, again, you have to be somebody that is comfortable getting the club flatter. And you can see there, even he lifted up his left shoulder to get the club higher. Would it be a quick fix for everybody? I'm sure it's better than other quick fixes. And would it be successful for everybody to use? It's 6 of one, half of the other. I think you should just give it a try if this is something you're looking for. I wouldn't recommend this for everybody just because we're all different and we have different mobility issues. So hopefully that makes sense.
Students hitting straighter shots when they try to use less wrist than actually putting more in. These ideas of trying to set wrist, get them set in positions, hold on to angles is often what makes golfers have hardly any control of the angle of the face. Try this. I call it with my students the wooden man swing. So try and feel like you make a swing where you make big shoulder actions, tilts and turns, big hip movements, but feel like you're putting hardly any wrist in, so feel like you're extended and extended. Guess what happens? People's flights come down, their trajectories get lower, their shots get straighter, and believe me, they actually go further.
So yeah, I've tried this drill myself, and I used it quite a bit when I try to slow down my hands because I do have very fast hands. I agree to a point what he's saying, that you don't want to engage the wrist too much because of the fads that are out there. We want to get this wrist hinge right away and hold on to, just like you talked about. And that's just destroying a lot of golf swings. But at the same time, you don't want to completely take them out of the golf swing because the club head needs to move the fastest down at impact. And you can't do that with the body. You have to engage the hands at impact. And I guarantee if we slow down that swing, you will definitely see there's some wrist release going on there. He doesn't, become Robbie the Robot and trying to hold off everything. That's impossible because you won't hit the ball very far. Now, the power of the body is, the body creates the power in the golf swing. The hands, that conservation of momentum, the reason it's there is to just put a little stop. It's like a bridge. It's holding the water. And as you drive through, the water is getting held up to a point that no human body is strong enough to hold on to that. So it just releases. The problem is we have power leaks because we're not getting the body and hands together working as a unit. So the average amateur out there there's no relationship between these two. So the body could be firing wide open and the hands say, man, I'm way behind. I got to let go of this. And there goes all the power. The power is leaked, and then your dynamic loft and impact is all over the place. So yes, I think this could be great for somebody that can use it. Somebody with very fast hands or is in this new trend of shallowing and getting all this ridiculous angles going on. But no, I wouldn't use it for everybody because we do need wrist release at impact.
But then from there, my right elbow folds, and I can set the club a little more vertically.
So this is an issue, man. When you get somebody that's one of the best in the world telling you, like, this is what I wish I knew when I was younger, blah, 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 you can start to just get carried away with that, because it's like, wait a minute. Rory McIlroy is telling me a secret. One of the best ball strikers in the world currently just demolishes the golf ball. I better listen to him. But you know what? The reality is, unless you are built like Rory, unless you utilize your tilts and turns like Rory, the same setup, the same ball position, the same grip pressure, the same grip placement, the same spacing between everything, the same femur length, the same construction of the upper body, it's not going to work, because it's Rory's swing. Now, can somebody with similar traits like Rory take advantage of this? Possibly, but even then, it comes down to hand-eye coordination, neurological skill sets. There's so much at play. Don't look at somebody that does it really well and expect to copy that, because they are there because they are the extremes. They are the best compensators in the world. They are the ones that you should not bother copying, because they cannot be copied. I'm not going to copy Rory. Rory's not going to copy me. Rory's not going to copy Tiger. Tiger's not going to copy Rory, because if it were true and there was a real method out there, there was a real secret, we would have cookie cutter golfers on the tour right now, because that's the best in the world. They would all swing the exact same way. And the fact is, none of them swing like each other. So just take this stuff with a grain of salt. This could create more chaos for many people. But it's good for me, because it keeps academies like ours in business, because it unfortunately ruins more swings than it helps. Easiest swing. Let's see what makes this swing so easy. Okay, I'm not sure what makes that swing so easy. There is a lot of hand manipulation down at impact, so it's very timing oriented. I see a lot of weight distribution issues, but hey, if it works, it works.
I think one of the biggest keys in my swing is making sure that the club stays in front of my body on the way back. If I keep the club in front of me here, that just makes the rest of the swing a lot easier. Sometimes if the club gets behind me early, then it makes it more difficult, and the club has to travel a lot further to get back to the ball. So for me, what's really simple, I just try to keep the club in front of me, and then from there it works up on the right plane, and then it makes the downswing easier. I think one of the biggest keys in my swing is making sure that the club...
Okay, so here we go again with Rory's words of wisdom now. Rory is a great player. Obviously this works for him. It's for him. Now, if you take a look, yes, it is correct that the club needs to be in front of the body, and we know this because a majority of great players, LPGA and PGA, get that club head on the upper end, on the upper portion of their lower plane line, which is what he's doing here. But essentially all he's doing is keeping that club head above the hands, which is what you do when you start the golf swing. So the club head is above because it's at that angle. Now, does this work for everybody? Some people need that club to work below because they can't turn enough because of some physical limitations. And some people do hit the golf ball really well when they get the club below and loop it back around the other way. So, again, this stuff is designed to get clicks and views and, oh, I got to go try this tomorrow because it comes from Rory. It must be factual. Let me go and do this myself. And you do it without a trained eye looking at you. And next thing you know, all hell breaks loose and you're on the Red Light Live show. Okay, well, I hope that satisfies your video for the day. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know who else you want me to analyze tomorrow, because it's a free day for me. In other words, I don't really have any idea of a video. I want to leave it up to you guys. So let me know what you want me to do tomorrow. Thought my microphone was off. But other than that, I'll see you tomorrow. Fairways and Greens. Oh, send me your videos for Red Light Live. Fairways and Greens.